Meet the people, talk to the people, let them know what you're doing. They will keep in touch with you. And somebody in their company may move to another role in another company. Usually they say, oh, we need somebody to help with this. We don't know who could do this. And they say, oh, you know what, we need to call Liz. It's not an embarrassing thing. It's just a fact of life. Everybody doesn't know everything, but if you can work through your network to find the answer, your client is going to be pleased. I don't think it matters what your major is. I'll put it that way. As what happens in most careers, as you age up, your degree is less important than your experience and competency.
Being aware of your own limitations
Yes.
is also very useful.
I love fixing other people's problems. So when I'm not working, I run a foundation and I help underprivileged kids here in another country.
Hello and welcome to Packaging Speaks, where we talk to packaging engineers about their lives and career growth and their vision for the future. I'm Christian Ellis, managing partner at Packsmith. Today I'm joined by Elizabeth Jeffries, who's a proven packaging professional, founded Packsmith Consulting 12 years ago. Thanks for joining us today, Elizabeth.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Very excited to have a conversation. You've been in Packsmith's database for decades. And I guess we kind of lost track a little bit when you moved into the consulting world, but I'm really happy to reconnect.
Yeah, it's been a while, but I've been knowing about you and your family for many, many years.
Yeah, I appreciate all the work Dad did building this network. Let's see if we can do some good with it.
Great.
So talk to me a little bit, Elizabeth, about how you got your start in packaging.
Well, I am technically trained as a mechanical engineer, but when I was working in the pharmaceutical industry, I was working in a factory and I wanted to make some changes and everybody told me I couldn't touch anything. You're not allowed to change any of these settings on these machines. And I wonder why. And then I said, well, who gets to change the settings on these machines? And they said, those are the packaging engineers. And I said, well, I need to do that. So I applied for the job. I did not get it because I was a mechanical engineer. However, mechanical engineers can do everything. So I explained after I didn't get the job that I'm a mechanical engineer, we can do everything. And I applied the next year, and then I got the job, and I was able to change the settings on the machines and learn about how all the machines work, and that was really my wheelhouse at the time. So it was a good transition.
Awesome. The vast majority of our candidates that we work with actually have packaging engineering degrees, but there's, I would say the next most common would be mechanical engineers. I certainly know a lot of folks who have found their way into the space. You feel like packaging was a great move for you? Where did you see yourself taking your mechanical engineering degree before you discovered packaging?
Well, I was really more of a manufacturing engineer, process engineering. So for me, as long as there was a machine involved, I was cool. You know, it didn't really matter. But then when I got to pharmaceutical engineering, pharmaceutical industry, and there were only certain people that were really allowed to tinker with the machines, that's when I realized for pharmaceutical industry, I needed to move into packaging so that I could touch things the way that I wanted to change things and improve things. So that's kind of how that happened.
And that was a move from Duracell to AstraZeneca, right? That was AstraZeneca where you
Yes, that was AstraZeneca way back when, and I was basically in maintenance, and we need to touch the machines. And so when I found out that we could not, make the changes that we needed to make, I wanted to be that person. So that was in the pharmaceutical industry where that happened.
And I guess let's talk about your time. Let's talk about your time there. What was AstraZeneca was about 10 years of your career, it looks like. You came in as a senior engineer and left there as a senior process engineer before going to Edwards. Were there big projects or key lessons you feel like you were able to take out of AstraZeneca?
Yeah, I learned a lot. I learned what packaging engineering was all about. I learned about package testing. I learned about equipment validation. I learned about distribution testing. It was basically my basis for the packaging engineering roles that I've had since then. My whole department, most of them were packaging engineers, which I didn't know was thing that existed before I got there. And
Right.
my manager was a great mentor. She was a Michigan State person and believed in Michigan State, believed in the packaging program there. And she just taught us so much and, just encouraged us to become certified packaging professionals, basically. So that's where, we all got our base from. And I just learned a lot through that experience at AstraZeneca.
Certified packaging professional. Is that you actually have the certification from the IOPP?
I do. I'm actually I'm a lifetime certified packaging professional at this stage in my career. So yes.
Yeah, and I think that's, if you are a mechanical engineer who's been dabbling in packaging, that is one of the ways I feel like you can easily identify yourself as a real packaging expert is working with the IOPP to get that certification.
I agree. Yes.
Excellent. And it probably is useful for your own marketing in your business, putting yourself out there as a mechanical engineer with a specific packaging accreditation is I imagine valuable for picking up new clients for yourself too.
Yes, I think so. I think when people learn that you're a packaging person, I don't think it matters what your major is. I'll put it that way. Once they know that you've been doing packaging and you have the background in packaging,
right.
Having the CPP helps, but I don't think the major necessarily is the most important thing. As what happens in most careers, as you age up, your degree is less important than your experience and competency.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I do think, companies are trying to maintain a professional engineering level in their groups. So maybe the specific degree is not super important, but I think at least if you're going to be a packaging engineer, some kind of engineering background is pretty vital. A lot of companies will hesitate to stray away from, and take a candidate like with a political science degree, for example, or something.
Yes, that would make sense.
Good lessons and good experience at AstraZeneca. It doesn't look like packaging was ever really in your title there. You were just plugged into the group?
I don't remember what the name of the group was. It might have been in the name of the department, but we were just considered process engineers in that department.
Sure.
Everybody was a process
And
engineer.
same at Edwards too, it looks like. The last time I recruited for Edwards, I was looking for I think it was a principal engineer in packaging, or I forget exactly how they phrased it, but they had packaging in their titles at Edwards last time I worked with them, but you've got it listed as a staff engineer. Were you part of the packaging group there as well?
I was. We had a couple of different packaging groups there. We had new product development and we had sustaining, and I was in the sustaining part, and that side of the department dealt more with the equipment, which was kind of my jam. Sure. So we did the equipment, the other side did more design on new products.
Okay. So, that's really been a hallmark of your career, it sounds like, is more on efficiency improvement, cost reduction, troubleshooting, and less in the new package, new product development.
That's correct. I will design the package as needed, but usually it's to fix a problem with what's already there. So I can fix what's already existing. I'm not great on coming up with something brand new. I will say that.
Okay. That's being aware of your own limitations.
Yes.
Is also very useful.
I love fixing other people's problems, but yeah, coming up with something new, the creative side isn't really what I like to do, what I enjoy.
Okay, that's fair. One of the many reasons I thought you would be an interesting person to talk to on this podcast is not only have you grown your career successfully and worked with some major companies in the pharmaceutical space, but I'm trying to talk to people who are running their own consulting companies and give information to packaging engineers who are out there and frankly I talk to a lot of people who are frustrated with the work-life balance and how often they have to be in the office. Now, everybody understands, you have to have access to plants. You've got to be able to get into the lab if that's in your job responsibilities and all of that stuff. But a lot of consultants I work with have gone into the space primarily because they want more control over their own schedule. They want to be able to work from home and that type of stuff. And not only are you working from home, not only are you working from your home, but you're doing it from pretty far away, and a lot of people don't realize that, do they?
That's correct. I actually live in Ecuador now. I've been here for 6 years, and I have been able to maintain my business through my move. I understand how people are concerned that some folks need to be in the office, but I feel like I have enough experience where I know when I need to be in the office, and I show up when those times happen. So if you're doing a validation or a sample build, or you need to look at samples after they come back from testing, those are the times that you need to be in the office. So I feel like if you're going to hire somebody, you're going to trust them to know their responsibilities and when they need to be present.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. How When you moved internationally, did you feel a responsibility to tell your clients, hey, I'm going this far away, or
Oh, yeah,
they
yeah.
just came out a little bit?
I'm
at
a little
time?
too honest when it gets to that. Everybody that I work with knows that I'm in another country, and the ones that are able to hire somebody that's not physically in the United States, they have no problem hiring me. Sometimes there's problems with payrolls and different things, and I understand that, and that means I'm not going to be the person for you. However, if you don't have those restrictions, I have no problem working hard and doing the job and getting it done and being efficient about it.
Where is your client list similar to what it was before you moved?
Um, yeah, before I moved, I was working for diagnostics and virtual pharmaceutical companies, and for those particular industries, it kind of lends itself to being remote.
Right.
So it's worked out just fine.
Excellent. Where are those? Where have your clients been coming from? Are they, if I may ask, are they contacts from your network and the time you've been in the industry? Are you spending a lot of time making phone calls and looking for work? How do you handle that?
I've been very fortunate. The majority of my clients have been word of mouth. So if I work
Okay.
for a person or a company, and somebody in their company may move to another role in another company, usually they say, oh, we need somebody to help with this. We don't know who could do this. And they say, oh, you know what? We need to call Liz. And they call me, and that's
There you
how
go.
I've gotten 80% of my jobs the last 12 years, is knowing somebody and them saying, we know it's time for us to talk to somebody in packaging. We don't need a department, but we need somebody who can guide us to do the right thing. And that's how I
Absolutely.
get most of my roles. And it keeps going. I'll go to a different company, and then somebody there may leave, and then they'll call me from their new company. So it's just kind of piggybacked on previous roles, and it's all worked out, and it's been great being able to use my network and know that they have confidence in me to continue to do a good job even for their next company and their next role.
Yeah, packaging. Packaging's everywhere. Everything comes in a package. It's amazing how small the community really is, though, and how much reputation matters, and how much really is accomplished through word of mouth and networking. I mean, Packstaff's built a whole career on nothing, a whole business model on nothing but networking with packaging professionals. So I'm totally not surprised, but I think it's valuable to hear for other engineers to hear somebody like yourself say out loud, yeah, it's really my network. Most of my business comes from people that I already know.
Yes, and it's true. And even, people hate networking, and I'm not the greatest networker. However, when you go to Pack Expo and you go to MDM West and you go to these different conferences, meet the people, talk to the people, let them know what you're doing. They will keep in touch with you. I mean, I remember a lot of the people that I meet, and they remember me, and we touch base over the years when there's an issue, and you can call and ask them for advice, and do you have any new equipment coming out? And it's just good to talk and keep up with people. And I know it's not the cool thing to do these days, but I do keep up with folks, and it's worked out. It's always a positive when you touch base with somebody you haven't seen in 3 or 4 years, or you see them at a show, and let's just go to lunch. Let's hang out and see what's going on. And it seems to work.
Absolutely. Yeah, and people, I mean, the reality is people gravitate towards working with other individuals that they enjoy working with, that are a positive influence not only on their work but on their attitudes, on their emotions, on their on their workday. So, yeah, building relationships is a massive part of getting out there on your own.
Yes, and it's also, even if somebody can't offer you a job, it's just good to keep in touch and encourage each other because other people have other, things going on in their life. They may be ready to leave a job or they may be ready to go out on their own or they may be running their own consulting business and they want to hire consultants and they may have questions. And, I'm always there to, bend your ear. I don't say I give the best advice, but I'll always talk you through it.
Well, in our the survey we just did at the beginning of the year, which is gonna, I think going to become an annual thing, we asked packaging engineers if they need technical support. One of the things we asked is if you need technical support, where are you most likely to go to get that help? The number one answer was packaging suppliers. The second answer is your network. It's like I don't know how to solve this problem. How am I going to do it? I'm going to go check with my network. And it's your boss, as the survey indicated, your boss isn't always necessarily a technical expert in whatever you're working on. They're there to manage the project. So where do you go to get technical answers? Well, if you have been networking and diligent about keeping in touch with people, not only are you going to know exactly where to go find that answer, but you're going to be able to call somebody who wants to give it to you and wants to help.
And that's exactly right. I've had problems or questions about sterile barriers. I call my network, I call my former coworkers, and they're always happy to help. And it's not an embarrassing thing. It's just a fact of life. Everybody doesn't know everything, but if you can work through your network to find the answer, your client is going to be pleased because they're not interested in how you found the answer. They just want to know that you did.
And not knowing everything is not a weakness, it's reality for everyone.
That's right.
Yeah, awesome. That's a nice, excellent, healthy way to look at it. How's business right now? Are you loving life? Are you busy?
I am loving life. I am not busy doing packaging at the moment, but I actually run a foundation here in Ecuador in my spare time. So when I'm not working, I run a foundation and I help underprivileged kids here in another country. So that's what I keep busy doing. But I do keep my ear out. If somebody calls and needs help, I'm usually happy to help them. So I will work. But yeah.
Would you tell us a little bit about the foundation? What kind of work are you doing?
Oh, sure. My foundation is called Casa Belen. We're located in southern Ecuador. We help underprivileged kids and we tutor them in math, Spanish, and English. And my areas are math and English. But, we help out in the community. We just started a community garden. So we've been planting lettuce and carrots and tomatoes and all kinds of fun things. So I'm still learning about Ecuador and gardening, and I learn about the kids every day. So, it's a great way to, just branch out and help people.
We could use some people in my own community right here in Wisconsin that will get the kids a little more interested in math, but we'll take care of that, I guess.
Yeah. They know I love math. They know I love it. And so even when it's not math day and they have a question about their math homework, they will seek me out and I help them. So yeah, it's great.
Awesome. Packsmith, it sounds like we'll never recall you for recruiting you for another position again, I don't think, but I would love to continue to keep in touch as your business continues to run, as you are involved with your foundation, and maybe we can check in on an annual basis just to kind of compare notes and see how the world's looking from different perspectives.
Yeah, I would like that. I mean, our last call was great and talking about the industry in general and current times and current trends. So yeah, I'd appreciate that.
Oh, awesome. I appreciate you spending a few minutes with me, Liz, but is there anything else you'd like to tell us about yourself, about Packsmith Consulting, that you'd like the world to know?
Sure. I'd just like to say that I know there's a lot of you out there that are interested in going out on your own. And for me, I took the leap and it's worked out for me. I've been really blessed. But I think it's worth it, and it's a chance that you take, and you have to, just manage your risk. Manage your risk
Yes.
and know what you're willing to give up, know what you're willing to do. One of my things was I won't work on a Friday. So unless I've got a validation on a Friday that's set in stone, I usually don't work on Fridays, and all my clients know that. And like I said, I let people know up front. I generally won't take any meetings on Fridays. I try to keep a work-life balance, and you just kind of have to have your boundaries set. And that's just something that, you have to do when you have your own business. And it's worth it if you're interested in learning about it. A lot of people know me. Give me a call. I like to talk. You all know that.
Look me up on LinkedIn.
I'm on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say think about it. And if you're interested in it, maybe take a chance and go for it, because it's been worth it for my life. And it's afforded me the opportunity to be able to move overseas and still do what I love professionally and personally.
Awesome. It's not every segment of the economy that can take that kind of attitude. When you go out there and you dedicate yourself to accumulating high-level skills in a scientific background like engineering or packaging engineering, especially with the way the talent market is right now, there are opportunities to really command your own schedule.
That's right.
There are a lot of people in the world that cannot say, well, I'm not going to work on Fridays. But packaging engineers, you've got skills that are in demand and not a lot of people have. You can, to a certain extent, control your own future, control your work-life balance, control your destiny, if you're willing to put yourself in a vulnerable position now and again.
And that's right. And like I say, I always go in with eyes wide open. I let people know up front. I'm not going to be in here on a Friday. I'm not going to take a meeting on a Friday. And I'm just very honest about it. And I really think they appreciate that. It's not a surprise when somebody sets a meeting and I'm like, oh, not available. Sorry, maybe you forgot. But, I can't do that meeting at 3 o'clock on Friday afternoon.
Authenticity is something the world is sorely lacking, and being upfront and setting expectations, and those are skills, people skills in themselves that I worry we're not developing very well, because we're just not. I have a much harder time getting younger engineers on the phone than I do the older ones, and I don't think it's because they don't know where you specialize in packaging. Everything I do screams packaging. I just think younger folks don't like interacting with the world the same way we do.
And that's true. I mean, I love to interact. I just don't need to be right there next to you in the office. So
Right.
I'll talk to anybody on the phone. I'll send emails. I'll do all of that. I'll reach out to new suppliers that I've never met before. But people need to be willing to do that. And you meet people, and they meet you, and they know what you're about. And I mean, that's kind of how us old timers work, but I think some of that still needs to go on these days.
For sure. And I can even tell the difference between, I feel like I've gotten to know you better, because the last couple times we talked, I've gotten to see your face and understand your expression. And we've obviously communicated and had a connection here, whereas when you're on the phone with people, it's not as easy. So, but there are ways to work remotely and still build bonds with people, and it's clear that you've learned how to do that.
Yes, that's true, and I have, and I'm always shocked when I'm maybe on a conference call with a group of people, and you're not necessarily interacting one-on-one, but sometimes those are the people that call and want me to help them with their packaging once they've moved to another company. They remembered me or remembered my chuckle and said, you know what, let me call that lady and see if she can help us, see if she's available.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, I think this has been a great conversation, Liz. I think there's been good insights for younger packaging engineers. I think that maybe even some of this has been eye-opening for folks who are a little bit more senior in their career and really ready to go off on their own. Oh, Liz is doing that from Ecuador? Wow, there really might be some flexibility out there. So I really appreciate your time and your continued relationship, and I look forward to doing this again.
Okay, well, thank you for having me. I really enjoyed this talk, and you know, if anybody needs any help, give me a call. Thank you.
You got it. Thanks so much.
All right. Bye-bye.